You stand in a velvet curtained entryway, delicate strains of music filtering through the glittering ballroom beyond. Your heart flutters at the prospect of society's best attending your first ball as the new Duchess of Sussington. Only one question remains. What does the new Duchess look like? 1, 2, 3. Let's go with 4. Lux updo. Crown of glory. Easy elegance. Classy curl. I like that one the most so far. Yeah, we'll go with this one. I actually kind of dig it. Perfect, what do you think? I'm ready for my debut. Sophie? Chapter 1, a daring debuting. From your veiled viewpoint, you watch as your guests filter into lavish ballrooms, all here for you. How impossible it feels to live in such splendor, when only a few weeks ago, the debt collectors were at our door. Pardon the intrusion, Your Grace, but there's something not quite to your liking. Startled out of your thoughts, you turn to see a livid footman behind you, his brow wrinkled with concern. Actually, all of this is a bit excessive. There's enough food out there to feed an entire regiment. Our guest couldn't possibly have such an appetite. To my knowledge, the Earl of Gadsbury on the neighboring estate had twice as much on offer at his recent ball. I find that very difficult to believe. Where would he even procure so much pheasant this time of year? I couldn't say, Your Grace, but when money is no object, I suspect pheasants out of the season present no trouble either. Just then the ballroom's grand double doors open on a coterie of beautifully garbed guests. I suppose I can't lurk out here all evening. I need to change into my own gown and make my entrance. You head upstairs to your chamber to find your lady's maid, Campbell, waiting for you with her hands nervously clasped. There you are, Your Grace. I was beginning to fret that we might not have time to pick the proper dress. I didn't mean to worry you, Campbell. Everything looks so lovely downstairs, I must have just lost track of time, admiring it all. I'm not surprised, given Your Grace's exquisite taste. Your chambers are so charmingly appointed. That's kind of you to say, though I will admit I'm surprised to even have my own chambers. I thought to share them with my husband. I suspect many ladies enjoy the privacy, Your Grace. Husbands can be a bit overbearing, from what I've heard. You perch on the edge of your four-poster bed, surprised by how companionable it feels to chat with Campbell. You know, it's so nice to have someone to speak freely with. It's just that this new life has been a bit lonely. I've barely seen hide or hair of my own husband since our honeymoon. You must miss His Grace after spent so much time together. You would think, but we were often apart. He had other affairs to attend to, which I'm sure is how he'll become so successful. But I'd hoped after such a short engagement, the honeymoon might be a chance to get to know each other. He's still a stranger to me. Perhaps you'll find your way to each other now that you have a chance to settle into a shared routine. You're right. Tonight is the first event hosted by His Grace since the King conferred his title. And our first foray into society as a married couple, which means everything must be no less than perfect. And what gown will Madame wear for such a monumentous occasion? It's your chance to make an impression on all of society. Make a splash at your first ball. So I'm assuming the outfit that we're wearing priorly would be the normal non-diamond one. Once Campbell has helped you into the elaborate ensemble of silk and lace, you admire yourself in the glass. I don't believe I've ever worn something quite so decadent. Surely not even the scandal sheets will find fault with this. Oh, Your Grace, you look like a queen. Thank you, Campbell. Though I doubt her Royal Majesty would appreciate the comparison. After dressing, you rush downstairs where your husband waits for you at the end of the hallway, a scowl looming on his heavy brow. He gives you a clipped nod as you take his arm, a look of grudging admiration stealing over his face.
You do look rather up to snuff for this hullabaloo tonight. Well done.
Thank you, Your Grace. With all the polite society in attendance, I thought it was wise to put our best foot forward. The Duke nods, looking slightly taken aback at the notion of you as a team, but pleased all the same.
I suppose you should get used to calling me Lawrence. We are married, after all. I'll admit it pleases me to call you my wife when you look so well.
Thank you, Your Lawrence. Shall we?
I'd be proud to enter with you on my arm.
He leads you to the ballroom. Waves of music, laughter, and perfume sweeps over you as you step into a candlelit splendor. Everything looks so sublimely gorgeous. What do you think of it?
These bloody things are all the same. The worst sort of women's business. Waste of any thinking man's time and money, if you ask me.
Be that as it may, might we participate in the first dance? He squeezes his arm a little, smiling winsomely up at him. It would be a lovely and very public symbol of our new union, don't you agree?
We already wait in the eyes of the law and the Lord, aren't we? Hardly seems necessary to make a pantomime of it. Besides, I don't dance.
Before you can think of a more pleasant topic to steer the conversation towards, you reach the head of the ballroom. Introducing His Grace, the Duke of Sussington, and Her Grace, the new Duchess of Sussington. You should include that. Society's most notable members whisper excitedly as you pass, eyes glinting with approval as they take in your gown. How stunning she is! The gossip sheets did mention that she had no season of her own. What a pity. Imagine if she had. She'd surely been deemed an incomparable. Flattered, you turn to the Duke, but he's already carving a single-minded path towards a cluster of his friends. I suppose I shall be playing the part of the hostess entirely on my own. The women you recognize as prominent taste makers glide up to you and dip into a curtsy. You and His Grace have possibly outdone yourselves tonight. Good heavens, what a marvelous showing. Marchioness. Sure to be one of the highlights of the season. What a pleasure to hear you approve of our modest efforts. His Grace and I wish to make tonight special in every respect. And if I may, your gown is an utter marvel. Is it Venetian lace? Absolutely exquisite. Kind of like yours. It's kind of pretty. I was asking my modestie for something just like this. What a craftsmanship. The color, quality, clearly you're taken to the role of Duchess well. I'm doing my best. After exchanging a few more pleasantries, the ladies drift away, leaving you smiling to yourself. It seems I had no cause for nerves. The upper crust has turned out for us en masse. Your eyes scan the room, taking in the attendees' smiles, until you spot one whose gaze is fixed firmly on you. This is a single love interest book. Of course it is. So be sure to pick someone worthy of a duchess. Whose eye catches. Okay, man or woman, let's give man a look real quick. Got number 1, number 2, 3. Okay, let's see the female options. 4. It's very pretty. I don't know about the purple though. Purple's really weird. I know ladies, you mainly dig when I only select male love interest, so I must choose between these 3. Let me think. Well, as most ladies say, tall, dark, and handsome, right? However, if you ever want to see me do, like, a Duchess or female main character thing with another female, let me know in the comments section below. Typically, I gauge past things on you guys' reaction, because I value your input the most, so always let me know in the comment section below if you want to see other, well, love interests. Feel the weight of his stare upon you, like a hand pressed upon your chest, stirring a curious disquiet within you. Do I know that man? I should smile, tear my eyes away. Tear my eyes away. Even as you avert your gaze, the feeling of his remains on you, just as his charmed face remains on your mind's eye. Those eyes. Why was he looking at me like that? You dare to sneak a glance out of the corner of your eye, certain enough the stranger's gaze remains fixed on you. His intense gaze pulls you into two directions. You want to hide from view, yet you can't deny you like him watching you. As you wrestle with your thoughts, you're nearly bowled over by the force of a carriage collision, or a sister's hug. Ah, Sophia, I've been looking all over for you. I can't believe how grand this is. Louise, it's nice to see you. Ah, nice hardly suffices. Did you know that there are no fewer than 8 trifles on the dessert table? I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that it was the cakes that first caught your eye, sweet pea. Louise takes you, and properly for the first time, her eyes sparkling with awe as she drinks in your dress and jewels. Do you know, Sophia, you're so gorgeous I can hardly believe it's really you. She pulls back and playfully peers at you from this angle, then that, tilting her head. Is it truly my sister, or some sort of beautiful mirage? Admit it, Sophie. Being a duchess was granted you magical powers. You laugh at her ebullient teasing, thrilled by her evident joy at your good fortune. If anything, my new lady's maid is the one with the magic. So in a sense, I suppose you're not wrong. She's your fairy godmaid. Wait. There you are, my darlings. What a divine affair you've pulled off, Sophie. Your mother takes your hand and clasps it between both of hers, her eyes shining with pride. And how divine you look tonight, my love, every inch of this magnificent duchy. Thank you, Mama. There's no one whose good opinion I'd rather have than yours. You can't help but recall the last moment you spent with your mother and sister under far less happy circumstances. I'm afraid we'll have to let Thompson go. Though, as we're selling the horses, we'll hardly miss our coachman. But how will we manage without horses and a coach? Surely Papa didn't leave us in so much debt. You wind an arm around your little sister's waist and pull her close, your heart aching at the sight of her sick-stricken face. Buck up, sweetness. We'll manage, won't we? We always do. You sigh as you gaze around the lavish ballroom once more. I knew you would make anyone a wonderful wife, but seeing this now, what you've made of your new life, I've never been more certain that pairing you with the Duke was the right decision. As his wife, you shall never want for anything. Except for love, apparently, according to this book. Your eyes drift to the Duke, and the buffoons he calls gentlemen friends. Their coarse jests carry across the room now.
These so-called new fashions do get more deucedly ridiculous by the year, don't you say? And especially on the older frumps. Look at them fussing over each other, a bit like brooding hens all trussed up to look like they let the chicks, aren't they?
A wonder they cluck as shrilly as they do, with frills and ribbons laced up to their wattles like that. You turn away, trying not to hear them mock cluck. All their wealth titles have conferred little of class. You agree, don't you, darling, that this match is everything you hoped for? You'll never want for anything again. I suppose you could say I want for love. It's as if the Duke barely even sees me. And when he does, he wishes I were someone else. With a soft, commiserating sigh, your mother squeezed your own hand. My darling, the love you find in sonnets and operas cannot guarantee security. Marriage is about building a comfortable life. Thank you for what you've done, my love. You cannot imagine the relief of knowing we needn't worry about money ever again. You know that you and Luis are my heart, Mama. How could I have chosen anything but what was best for all of us? The romantic opening strains of a familiar minuet dragging you away from heavier thoughts. May I please dance as real, Mama? I swear to hover only at the very edges. No one need know I'm here. Perhaps just one, then you, irrepressible hoyden. The rest can wait until after your debut. Luis dashes to the dance floor with a gleeful squeal, your mother trailing after. It would be so lovely to dance. Perhaps the Duke will indulge me, now that it's later in the evening. He most likely isn't, especially with some whiskey in him or whatever they drank back in the day. You find your husband still surrounded by his boorish friends. When you set a light hand on his shoulder, he turns from them grudgingly. What do you want, Sophie? Shouldn't you be off with your guests playing Grand Lady of the Manor? It's only that this is a lovely piece. Now that our guests are settled, I thought we might set an example for anyone wishing to dance. Bloody hell, woman. I thought I already told you I don't dance. It's only that everything's gone so well. I suppose I hoped you might have changed your mind. The Duke barks out a low, burkish laugh, waving a hand dismissively. The whole benefit of hosting this wretched thing is that I don't have to be trotted out like a prize pig. Would you look absolutely stunning with an apple in your mouth, Your Grace? The Duke's cronies burst into drunken guffaws. You turn to see the stranger from before or behind you. You certainly would, Bedford. My, if I'd known your guest would be this entertaining, I might have arrived sooner. All in jest, Your Grace. Not many hosts are as good-humored as yourself. The Duke restrains himself, aware of his friend's amusement, as he turns to address the stranger. Ah, yes, how jolly of you to introduce yourself to the host of the event by teasing him. Have we met? I imagine not. No one of note, just a private instructor by trade. But if you desire some solitude with your colleagues, I'm happy to occupy the Duchess on the dance floor. You're here for me. Oh, yes, I'll be most welcome. Darling, please direct your endless inquiries to the private instructor rather than me. He dismisses you with an apathetic hand gesture as his friends guffaw. The stranger leads you away by your arm. Take note, men, women, and everyone in between, that if you do not pay attention to your significant other, that someone will sweep in and take them away. This is how life is. I condone this. If someone acts like this individual, Forgive the intrusion, Your Grace. You turn to him, your breath snagging at the sight of the astonishingly handsome man before you, candlelight gilding his fine features. The stunning stranger dips into a languidly graceful courtier's bow, his gaze never leaving yours. But I couldn't pass up this chance to meet you, lest I not get another, I'm Nathaniel Pippin. Though all my friends call me Nat, as you should certainly feel free to if you wish. Nat it is, then. I suppose I should have to be Sophie, in that case. His eyebrows arch, his hand drifting to his mouth, and a mock astonished gasp, his eye sparkling wickedly above him. Am I to understand I'm free to address the Duchess of Sussington by her first name? How scandalous, Sophie. My marriage affords me greater leeway, and let us not forget, you offered your name first. Any scandal is clearly of your making. Nat gives you a warmingly appraising look, his thick-lashed eyes fixed intently on your own. It's clearly given you a license to dress spectacular as well. The dress is... well, let's just say I was following you around the room with my eyes, long before I mustered the nerve to introduce myself. Oh, do you like it? Like is not the word I'd use, though I'm not sure the word I would use is quite appropriate even if we were on a first-name basis. Suffice it to say you look ravishing, Your Grace. You feel your cheeks flush at the compliment. If I may continue to be so bold, you look like you'd much rather be dancing than standing about alone. That's certainly the case, if you're asking. His face melts into a slightly crooked smile, so enticing it makes your breath snare in your throat again. Just the thing one hopes to hear, when rather shamelessly angling for a lady's favor. He extends a hand to you, quirking an eyebrow. May I have this dance? You take his hand, a warm flush swirling down your wrist as the brush of his calloused palms against yours. Indeed you may, sir. Nat draws you against him and whirls you through a complex steps of the minute, your bodies floating effortlessly on the air. Your breath comes short, a little ragged, the small of your back heating beneath his hand, your hand ablaze in his. You're quite a gifted dancer, Nat. I've had ample opportunity to practice, though never with someone quite so beautiful as yourself, Sophie. You feel your entire body heating with this compliment, something in you thrilling to him, a tidal surge. You've never felt anything like this before. This inexorable draw towards him like a new form of gravity. Abysmal lack of dancing aside, are you enjoying newly married life? Am I enjoying the newlywed life? Some parts of it. Were I unmarried, I would never enjoy the privilege of hosting a ball anywhere near this lavish, and to think this is my home. Ah, a fellow hedonist. Always a joy to meet someone unafraid to admit the honest pleasure they take in luxury. He draws you closer with a spin that leaves you breathless, and suddenly your marriage is the last thing on your mind. I'll say this, finding such a diamond of a wife has made your husband doubly wealthy as well. You fumble for an appropriate question, desperate to still, or at least conceal the sudden flutter in your stomach. Well, what about yourself? Do you have an estate nearby? God, no, nothing of the sort. I'm a distant cousin to the Earl of Berlioz. I'm afraid I fall quite firmly into a broad swath of respectably born with no real prospects. There won't be lofty titles in my future, nor an estate as grand as this, nothing that might count as an inheritance of any note, I'm afraid. Do you find it difficult to have such uncertain prospects? Oh, I wouldn't say that. There's freedom in not having to live up to anyone's expectations. I quite enjoy doing whatever I please. His voice lowers into a deep, hushed tone as next words settle and light something scorching within you. With whomever I please. As you meet his eyes, there's an invisible tug beckoning you closer. You give in to the tug, twirling into him. His chest grazes your back, his hands cradle your hips, and his scent fills your nose. His gaze is still on you, causing your heart to beat a pace. You simply can't ignore it. What is this feeling? You know it's improper to stay this close, yet you can't tear away from him. And you, Duchess, have you found your new life freeing or more restrictive? You bring your focus back to the conversation, ignoring how his touch sends your pulse racing. Freeing. I'm learning how our estate is run, working my way through our extensive library, and meeting interesting people. While my husband finds my wealth of curiosity to be more of a burden than joy, he leaves me to it as I please. As the music draws to a close, you reluctantly draw away from him, dipping into a curtsy. Your curiosity is delightful, Duchess. Never forget that. He takes hold of your hand, the heat of his touch seeming to seep through your body like melting wax. I should hate to part so soon, when I've only just begun to know your exceptional mind. What would you say to one more dance? But 2 dances in a row, wouldn't that cause a scandal? As a married woman, you've much more freedom. And we could always seek out a more privacy to set your mind at ease. I would love to keep dancing. Oh, brilliant. With a secret smile, he leads you out of the ballroom and past the attached patio towards the edge of the gardens. The estate's manicured front gardens rustle in the darkness, a shining half-moon glowing above you like a lantern. It's beautiful here at night, and to think I'd never have known. The soft night breeze brings wastes of fragrance from the flower beds, and you hear the strains of new peace drift from the ballroom. But out here it sounds both impossibly romantic and somehow fey, almost of another realm. Have I mentioned... He pulls you into his arms, even closer than before, your body nearly flush against his, and his lips hovering by your ear. How absolutely ravishing you look by the moonlight. Was I not in the candlelight? Not at all, but out here you're like something of a myth, a nymph, perhaps, or a siren. Am I a flatterer? Not that you weren't already one inside, but out here in the moonlight, you're positively silver-tongued. And yet I stand by my statement, you could tempt a man to his doom. If you don't take care, I might be tempted to sing you into dashing yourself against some rocks. I wager I'd be happy to meet that fate. Listen, many men ask for death by snoo-snoo. I don't know, it's a thing. I still can't quite believe your husband missing the chance to dance with you, especially so early in your marriage. Why should the duration of the marriage make any difference? Because typically, right, it's called the honeymoon phase for a reason. We'll just go with that. It's just that normally newlyweds will scarcely keep their hands off of each other in the heady first days. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, come now. A devilish grin flickers like a flame over his perfect lips. Is that burning in the pit of your stomach a fire that can be doused by attentions of a particular beloved? Surely you must know that compulsion, that need. I think I'm beginning to understand. You meet his eyes with an effort, your lips parting at the intensity in them. Enough to have a notion, at least, and to know I'd like to understand much more. His devilish smile grows even wider, his hand tightening against your lower back. The warmth of his palm seeps through your silks as if his hand were laid flush against your bare skin, making your breath stutter. A promising start. As the music's tempo picks up, now it draws you closer. You can feel the intoxicating heat of him through your silks. The shape of him pressed against you, every dip and contour. And if I can feel him, he must be able to feel my shape against his own. His hips roll against your own as he moves you through the steps of the dance, his body somehow closer to yours than you've ever experienced in a dance before. You really are tremendously talented at dancing. He chuckles. Low, husky sound that spirals through you, sending heat flaring in your belly. I'd like to think of dancing as a prelude to, well, other, much more delicious diversions. Oh. Try an unsteady breath. You lean closer to him, fitting the curves of your body against his. Oh, I see. You can feel the shudder of his own breath speeding up, the tightening of his body against yours as he draws you closer still, so flush against each other that you can nearly feel the race of his heart, picking up speed to match your own. Nate, What was that, Duchess? Is there something you'd ask of me? I'm not sure. His hand drifts to the small of your back, begging you closer with his touch. His other hand tightens around yours, the heat of his palms lining against your own, fingers intertwined as if made to fit each other. We can dance slower if you need, Your Grace. The tune is so faint from here we needn't follow any tempo beyond our own heartbeats. When you look into his eyes, they seem aflame, alive with a fire you've never seen. No one has ever looked at me like this before. The pit of your own belly lights with an answering flame, one you've never felt, and couldn't even have imagined feeling. What is this feeling? Your lips part of their own accord, but as his head dips down towards yours, you linger in the moment, neither of you able to break away, the magnetism between you growing almost unbearably heavy. Nathaniel, you're so close you can feel him exhale, the enticing warmth of his breath fluttering over your lips as he draws closer. And then the music abruptly ends, breaking the spell. A pity. I've always felt this minuet should have been made longer. He holds you close for another breathless moment, and then steps away, swiping a hand over his mouth. Your breath rushes back, the night tilting back toward some semblance of normalcy. He smiles at you, lips squirt with some private amusement. Did you enjoy the dance, Your Grace? I thought it was lovely. Thank you. I haven't danced like that in a very long time. Or ever, actually. It's a damn shame. And one I'll be more than ready to remedy again upon your request. Is that a promise? I do always keep my word when it comes to dancing. Then I shall certainly have to take you up on it, and soon. He laughs, eyes sparkling as they catch the silvered moonlight, the night breeze slipping across his silk clothing. Heavens, that laugh. I could listen to it all day. As the air thickens between you again, he takes your hand in his and draws closer. His thumb brushes over the delicate inside of your wrist, making your breath catch again. Nat. Perhaps we might. But then a bellow drifts over the direction of the ballroom. I'm afraid I must get back. Certainly the Duke will not have bothered himself to keep order in my absence. Or to keep our guest even remotely entertained, if it means stepping away from the buffoons he calls friends. I understand you have your duties to attend to, and I have no doubt you'll do so with a great deal more care and grace than your husband takes with his. He lifts your hand to his lips, brushing a kiss over your knuckles that sends heat spiraling along your arm. You've never been more aware of the gentle pressure of a mouth against you, the warmth of the breath on skin. Oh my. Then, with a fiery parting glance over his shoulder, he heads back towards the ballroom. You linger for another moment, breathing in the sweet night air to ground yourself, and then you head back inside as well. As the night spins on, it becomes clear that the ball is a massive success. The Duke finds you and sets a heavy hand on your shoulder. You do seem to have a decided knack for this. Even Somerville seemed to enjoy himself, and the man is fiendishly hard to please. I'm glad the ball was a success. Thanks to my hard work. I suppose I must be overcome with joy that Somerville enjoyed it with high praise. That's what I said, isn't it? Now, do get some sleep, will you? You're hardly making any sense. He glances around at the last of the guests trickle out, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious Nate, but he's disappeared into the night. You wake up in the early afternoon to a summons from your husband and rush to find him in his study. In the early afternoon. She got to sleep until early afternoon, everyone. Someone sits in the chair opposite his, their back to you. There you are. Took your time, didn't you? You only called for me 10 minutes. No matter. You're here now. I found the perfect solution to your pesky curiosity. Something to keep you busy besides balls and such. I don't require... More importantly, it will keep you out of my hair. To that end, I've hired you a tutor. Before you can muster an indignant response, the stranger in the chair rises, turning to you. Good afternoon, Your Grace. I couldn't be more pleased to be trusted to take your education in my hand. Ah, I see what he did there. without further ado, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down the description of the video and check out the links and whatnot are there. Without further ado, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Here's my thoughts on it. One who has studied history and many things that came before. TLDR, women were in loveless marriages, right? A lot of times they married to secure wealth or whatnot. Like one household would have a title, and the other household would have the wealth without the title, so they would marry to consolidate both. And things like that would continue on. That's something that, due to the Industrial Revolution and whatnot, kind of really, and the formation of democracy and other countries like America and whatnot, slowly broke up, right? To this day, in some elite circles, this still happens, right? A pairing, a marriage to consolidate wealth and fame and all that garbage. It still happens, right? You look at Hollywood as a prime example of it for clout and fame and fortune and PR and all this other crap. You look at the Queen of England and now the King of England and all that. It's always been a thing. So there's a lot of loveless marriages. There's a lot of, women and men alike that marry into something and they find love in someone else's arms, right? So, that's just what this book's gonna be, pretty much. So, but let me know your thoughts down below. Without further ado, we'll see how this works, but something tells me it'll be another cheesy book, so. Also sorry about being just a tad bit late today, just not feeling it, just not feeling good at all. Woke up kind of feeling bleh, but, I'll get the other chapters done as well. Peace out.